beautiful, Lauralee. Thank you so much. Sometimes I don't have an opening statement that's perfect for what I need, but Walt gave me one. I'm trying to figure out what is the good that is going to come out of a pink tennis ball. Ah, you see? I didn't know that this was going to happen, but last Monday evening we had a class here, and it had been a long day, and I was really happy to be going home, and I left in a little bit of a rush, and left my case with all of my classwork on top of the car and drove away. And I was happy to get home, and I didn't bother to take the stuff from the car into the house. And then early in the morning the telephone rang, and a lovely young lady was on the other end of the line, and she said, are you Dr. Marcia Pearce? And I said, yes. She said, well, I found a book of yours. I thought at first that it was a Bible, but it isn't, but it was in a nice leather cover. And I found it out on, what's this road here? 101 and, yes. And you know how all the bells go off? So anyway, I made arrangements to meet her at Fred Meyer, the coffee stand, and I went out to my car. The bag with all of the classwork was not in it. Everything that I need was not in it. And I thought, what on earth am I going to do? This isn't right. But I made that connection at once with what I'd been trying to jam down the student's throat that night. Trust, love, God, all of that wonderful stuff. Anyway, so I met the young lady, got the book, and then came over here. And it was, you know, it was a very special book to me because it was the first Science of Mind book, which is our text, that my husband had given me when I started getting ready for classes and things myself back in the early 1970s. And it was special because I had used it for all of those years going through, even up to the time when I was teaching other people to get into the ministry myself. And those students, seeing the tatty state of my textbook, stole it away from me, had it completely put back together, repaired, put a lovely leather jacket on it with my name imprinted in gold. And that's why the book was special. And that was the only thing that was saved with all of that stuff that was lost. And I was so grateful for that. And then I thought, well, there's got to be some other good that's going to come out of this. But I began the work of trying to recreate all the classwork and all of that good stuff. But I didn't have anything to put it in. My case, which I did find pieces out there. You know, even my name tag is in shreds somewhere in the fence down 101. No, it's not sad. It's wonderful because someone came, a very good friend came to my house yesterday and brought me a brand new case. Lovely. Got pockets and file places and stuff. I mean, there's so much stuff that I don't even have enough stuff to go in it. You know, and it's better than anything I could have ever imagined. So something good always comes out of something that seems to be some kind of a tragedy, which has absolutely nothing to do with what I want to talk about today. So what I want to talk about today is creating a life that we can love living. And in thinking about all the stuff and about the tennis balls and all the rest of it, there is so much in life that actually is wonderful if we could think about that more and less about the stuff that we don't care for, we might find that we're creating a life that's worth living, that we can love. So in this class that we had last Monday night, I was asking the students, what is it in life that if they didn't have it right now, something they felt they wanted most, what would it be? And it was very interesting to me because it wasn't things like money or a new house or a better job or any of those things that people might want, not even health. The things they asked for were divine resonance. That was the one that just touched me the most. Divine resonance. One was simple ease. Being able to be at ease in life. Grace. Things like that. Just really great. And so at home in the week when I started thinking about, tonight's talk, I thought about, well, if those are the things that people want, it must be because they don't think they have them. And that's sad. We have to then make a stand if we really want those things and look at our lives and ask ourselves, why do I not have those things? What things in my life are blocking those things? Because if, I believe what I believe, all that the spirit in life has is for us. There is nothing ever against us. So the only thing that can be preventing me from having the things I desire, such as grace and ease and loving my life, it must be something that I have going on with me. I can't be blaming anybody out there or anything out there. So Shakespeare says that all the world's a stage. And someone else, who is maybe not as famous, because I can't remember who they are, said, all the world's a mirror. And I kind of put that down to Dr. Ernest Holmes, who was the founder of religious science. All the world's a mirror. But when you look in a mirror, all you're looking at is a reflection. And I can't do anything about a reflection except work on me. It keeps coming back to the same thing again. You and I are causing the reflection that we see in the mirror, or the life that we are creating in our own little worlds. We are the creators. Emerson said, what you are shouts so loudly that I can't hear what you say. Now that's often been a confusing statement to me. Is that a positive statement or is that a negative statement? Yes. Is he talking about the fact that we're trying to talk so much and let everybody know who we are because we aren't sure? Is it what we're wearing? Is it the garb? Have you ever thought about the fact that garb and garbage have the same root? Okay. Or is it that Emerson sees the real person shines through, so that he can't hear what they're saying. He just sees who they really are. So there are two ways to take that very famous quotation of his. Dr. Emmett Fox is one of my favorite readers. He's a lot of Orthodox Christianity in here, which sometimes puts me off and puts some people off. But he said that your what I call higher consciousness, your higher consciousness is reflected in what's going on out in your life. And what he says is, that that's not it. Okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to fret. Oh, I know. There it is. I wrote it out. That's why I couldn't find it in the book. If the state of your soul, and you know I've talked about soul many times, is always expressed in your outer conditions and in the intangible influence that you radiate at large, there is a cosmic law that nothing can permanently deny its own nature. I love that, because what he's saying is, my soul is in here waiting to be expressed. And it doesn't matter how much garbage I'm putting out there, how many clothes I'm trying to wear, hats I'm trying to wear, things I'm professing with my, I was going to say profanity, but that's wrong. My profundity, that's better. That's definitely better. Are less important than, what did he call it? The intangible influence that I radiate at large. There is a cosmic law that nothing can permanently deny its own nature. And if you think of that out in nature, all animals refer to their own nature for the way they live. It has taken eons for us to be able to have tame dogs. Occasionally, they will revert to who they really are. And what that gives me hope for is that if I am made in the image and likeness of God, and that doesn't mean I look like something, it means I have within me all the characteristics that I so value in that divinity. They are within me, and there is nothing I can do to permanently deny that nature that I am. So regardless of where I am in all that I'm trying to learn and do and how I'm trying to grow and my satisfaction or dissatisfaction with that, I will always be guaranteed, because I'm promised, that the truth of me will always come to the surface. Maybe not all the time, but some of the time, and maybe much of the time. So I don't have to work so hard at trying to be who I am, and especially trying to be happy. If I will simply be who I am, I will be happy. That's nature, the way nature is. The class wanted the world, really, to reflect harmony. And I think, like most of the time, we don't think that's always happening. There were some comments this morning saying, boy, look at the world. But we do have the ability to change what we believe about the world and thus change the way the world thinks. It's a human nature, natural thing for us to radiate to each other. It's like a cosmic soup. We rub off on each other, and it's good. It's good. What are some of the things that we can do to get out of our own way and let our own goodness create our life for us? Well, I think some of the things, or one of the things that we can do that I chose today, is to stop harboring the things that bother us. And by harboring, I mean giving space in our life to. We need to stop giving space in our life to the things that are bothering us, the disharmony. And when we do that, there's usually kind of a reciprocal action. As you push away the things that you don't want, that are bothering you, there's room for something better to come in. Now, that's not always true, but it is often true. And it is not always true because we will not always let go. And I found a wonderful story, and this one is in Dr. Fox's book. It's an old Wild, Wild West story. And I don't promise you that this is true, but this is what he says. He says there's an anecdote of the Far West that carries a wonderful lesson. It appears that a party of hunters, being called away from their camp, left the campfire unattended, with a kettle of water boiling on it. Presently, an old bear crept out of the woods, and seeing the kettle with its lid dancing about on top, promptly seized it. The boiling water scalded him, and so badly, that instead of dropping the kettle instantly, he did what bears do. They hug. That's how they kill much of their prey. So he proceeded to hug it tightly, this being a bear's idea of defense. Of course, the tighter he hugged, the more it burned him. And the more it burned him, the tighter he hugged. And so on in a vicious circle to the undoing of the bear. And he goes on to say this illustrates perfectly the way in which many people hug their difficulties to their bosoms, constantly rehearsing them to themselves and others. Okay? Ever done that? Yes. Ouch, ouch, ouch. We hug the kettle more as we retell the story to ourselves. We hug it even more when we share it with other people. Because now you've got two people that know the story and think of it. We remind ourselves and share the story. We find believers and supporters to support us in our pain so that we can hug the kettle even more. Another old fable that ministers love to tell, I've never told that one before, but I have told this one before, because it shows how what you believe will even create the path before you. This story tells of an old wise man many years ago who sat at the gates to the city to always welcome the people who came to the city. And on this particular day, a man came and asked the wise man, "What are the people like in this city?" And the man said, "What are they like? What were they like in your city?" And the man proceeded to tell him all that was wrong with them. They were unkind, they were not welcoming, they were this, they were that, and he proceeded at length. And finally the old man said, "Well, I don't think you're going to like it in this city. I think you'll find exactly the same people here." Soon another man came, same story. And the old man said, "What is it like in the city where you came from?" And the man paused and closed his eyes, and he said, "Oh, they were wonderful. They were so friendly, so kind, so caring," and on. And the old man said, "You've come to the right place. I think you'll find exactly the same people in this city." So you see how and it's just a story, but it illustrates how what we think, what we put out into the world, not only continues to mess us up, but goes out and prepares the way for us. So we could prepare a wonderful way, couldn't we? We could think of everything that's wonderful in this life, everything that wonderful that we do like, and bring those people to mind, instead of bringing old hurts and things like that. There are other things that we could do, and we teach them in these classes. Forgiveness, forgiveness is a wonderful healing agent. We could give up beliefs in duality, believing that there is good and evil and those kinds of things. We could love ourselves more. We could see God in others. We talk about this a lot. But I wanted to share with you what works best for me, because that's all I can do is tell you what works best for me, and I believe that's my truth. So the truth that I want to share with you this morning is my belief and my continual gratefulness. Gratefulness is a marvelous healer. It blesses, it uplifts, it brings good into your life. I do it so much that when I get up in the morning, I get up early, I make a cup of coffee. I love that coffee. And I am so grateful for that coffee that I remember what it is. And I say, thank you, my beloved, for being this coffee that I drink. Not for giving me this coffee, but for being this coffee. If I believe that God is all there is, and if I believe that everything that there is made somehow magnificently out of that one divine, then that very coffee that I sip is that one divine going down into my body for the blessing of my body. And that's such a wonderful way to begin the day. And there are other things. I'm saying thank you to the God in me, to the God I see in others, whatever that brings a smile to my lips. I have a thank you to be grateful for that. And that I know blesses my life a lot. There is something I want to share with you from a man whose name is David Steindl Rast. I don't know if any of you know of him. He is a spiritual mystic. He has a very close relationship with the Dalai Lama and has a wonderful organization. He's called Brother, actually. I'm not quite sure what religion it is, but he's called Brother. And this is what he says. Gratefulness is the key to a happy life that we hold in our own hands. Because if we are not grateful, then no matter what we have, we will not be happy. Because we will always want to have something else or something more. I love the idea of being grateful. Many things over the course of my life have made a difference, but gratitude has made the most difference to me. And the second idea that I want to share with you was something that I only found recently within the last couple of weeks. And it's called Danu. I don't know how to pronounce it properly. D-A-Y-E-N-U. Danu. Say again? Danu. Okay, thank you. There is a song that is part of the Jewish Passover holiday called Danu. Okay? The word itself means approximately, it would have been enough for us. It would have been enough for us. The song is about being grateful to God for all the gifts given to the Jews, that any one of the many gifts would have been enough. And the moment I read that, it made a change in me. And I remembered instantly, this is a tile that was given to me several years ago by a dear old friend who's no longer with us. And it says, happiness is wanting what you have. Not happiness is having what you want. Happiness is wanting what you have. And I think that is absolutely marvelous. I'm thinking at this moment of something I'd like to ask you to do, if you will remember and do this. When you go home from here today, and you walk into your house, your apartment, or even get into your car, will you look around at what you have? And will you say, Danu, it is enough. I am grateful for what I already have. I think this would be such a wonderful thing to do, especially when we come to think. Just for a moment, open our hearts to the people who have had their homes obliterated, lost everything. The little boy talked about the houses in the sea, made me remember it. They have lost everything. Look what you have if you have water coming out of a faucet. Look what you have if you turn on the light, or go home to make your lunch and turn on the stove. You have a fortune. You have a magnificent gift. All has been given to you. My prayer for you this week will be that you can make it enough, and that your lives will be wonderfully well lived and well loved. And so it is.